Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. David Evans. I'm the CEO and the Chief Science Officer of Guardion Health Sciences. And I have with me tonight Dr. Karen Hecht, who's the scientific advisory person for AstaReal, which is the top Astaxanthin-based company in the world. We're going to talk about that someday as well. But what I really wanted to address today was, Karen and I wanted to address was being able to use nutrition to help build your practice. And, particularly between the confluence of where people are aware that good health is important and that proper nutrition can help maintain good health, and the intersection of all these press revision ads that are running time about how important it is for eye health to maintain proper nutrition. And of course, they're recommending their Average 2 formula. But because of that, people are keenly aware of nutrition, how it relates to overall health, and how it relates to eye health. And from a practice management standpoint, though, let's face it, supplements are boring, right? Supplements are boring. Everybody offers supplements. So how can you use this time during coming out of COVID to set your practice apart? And many people are concerned about coming back to the practice, and they're concerned about regaining their regular life. So you have to have a way to entice them in. And one way we recommend it is with high-end nutrition, offering high-end nutritional products as well as education and things for the patient. And Guardion Health Sciences offers what's called a medical food. And our medical foods are a FDA-regulated type of formula that much higher quality than the standard supplements. And the particular medical food we're talking about today is called Lumega-Z, and it's a formula designed specifically to support the macular pigment and to help offset vision loss associated with depleted macular pigment and potentially macular degeneration. And what's really nice about this formula is that it has a full AREDS, all the AREDS ingredients, plus a lot more of the carotenoids, as well as a full complement of anti-inflammatory and antioxidative components, as well as a full dose of astaxanthin, which we'll talk about in a minute. So it's like the other supplements on steroids, so to speak, but there's no steroids in it. But and the other big advantage is it's a liquid, and many patients have an aversion to a pill. So we're getting feedback from the doctors that the patients really prefer this liquid. So what we're suggesting is that you can use this position in your market about being able to offer the highest level, highest quality nutrition. And we're seeing many patients actually respond well to this. Now, I've been in this industry for 40 years. I sit on an FDA committee that approves or oversees the protocol for all new technology that comes to the market for IOLs and LASIK surgery and so forth. I have to tell you, in 40 years, just the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I mean, people who have lost their driver's license are coming back and being able to see well enough to drive again. A woman in San Francisco had to close down her music shop because of AMD, because she could no longer read the music, and now she's back teaching music again. It's amazing what's happening, and so why is this form? Of course, we can't guarantee that for everybody, but we are seeing these amazing results. And what makes this Lumega-Z so special and why it's important for your practice is because what's in it. It's a highly absorbed liquid. We have data showing it generates 4 times the blood assay level of carotenoids than press revision, and 400% more. Also has mesozeaxanthin, increases the blood assay of the mesozeaxanthin as well. And the other thing is that we have astaxanthin in it, and that astaxanthin actually is kind of everybody talks about the 3 macular carotenoids, but astaxanthin is not a macular carotenoid, but it's a very, very powerful carotenoid that's also found in nature. And it's important to understand that all these ingredients we're going to talk about today are found in nature, although you cannot eat enough of them in your regular diet to get what you need for your patients to be able to, support the macular pigment and support overall health. So with that, I want to turn over to Karen to talk a little bit about why astaxanthin is so special and why it makes Lumega-Z such a potent formula to have it in there as well as our other ingredients. take it away, Karen.
Thank you so much, David. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, so as you mentioned, astaxanthin is actually a carotenoid found in our diet. But unlike most carotenoids in our diet, which comes from fruits and vegetables, astaxanthin comes from seafoods that are red. And the best source in our diet is wild salmon. And it's used, salmon actually use it in their muscles. The astaxanthin will bind to protein in the muscle, give salmon that characteristic red color because it is a pigment, and it helps to support and protect those lipids in the muscle that the salmon depend on for energy against oxidative damage. And that's part of the reason salmon have these amazing endurance. They're amazing endurance athletes. From Astoria, Oregon to South Central Idaho is a 900-mile journey. They swim during spawning season, and they couldn't do it nearly as well without astaxanthin, which is an essential nutrient. So this powerful antioxidant is 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C, which is really striking in terms of its antioxidant capacity. But, it's also really nice to know that it's a fat-soluble antioxidant. And the thing that really makes it stand out is that it's targeted to mitochondrial membranes in particular. As much as half of the membrane-bound astaxanthin is found in mitochondria. And we know how important mitochondrial dysfunction is in AMD progression. And there's more scientific data being published all the time demonstrating this. And so this is the reason that astaxanthin has such an interesting impact, important potential for AMD. And there are studies out there looking at astaxanthin in a formulation of carotenoids, looking at AMD progression as well.
Yeah, that's great. And it's hard to get enough astaxanthin in your diet, right? I mean, how much salmon you got to eat to get astaxanthin in there?
So to get your 4 milligrams, you'd have to eat 8 fillets of king salmon every single day. Very caloric and expensive. So it's really a good case for supplementation.
Yeah, that's good. And so there are some salmon that have more astaxanthin, right?
Yes. So the salmon I mentioned earlier that does that migration from Astoria to Snake River, that is the sockeye salmon. It has the highest concentration of astaxanthin. So in that case, I think you could probably get away with maybe 1 fillet a day. But it would have to be wild salmon, and we don't know, we lose some in cooking. So still a lot to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and sockeye is the pinkest of the salmon, right?
It is actually.
Yeah, right.
And so
that's the astaxanthin content, right?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So that's when you look at the color of, actually, I think, do you have a sample there?
Yeah, I was going to say that Lumega-Z comes as a liquid. I normally just mix mine with water, and it's very easy to drink. And the pink color actually comes from the astaxanthin. It's a dominant carotenoid that contributes a lot to the overall value of the formula. So
and the astaxanthin is vegetarian too, I should mention, because we talk a lot about salmon, but it comes from algae. So we grow the algae indoors in the USA, and that's where it's extracted from. So it's a vegetarian source.
Yeah, and that's one reason why actually we wanted to use AstaReal in our formula, because of a very, very purified growth process. It's isolated from external environment that cannot be contaminated. So it's a very pure form of astaxanthin. And correct me too, Karen, there's a lot of data showing that astaxanthin crosses the retinal and the brain barrier. And there's a lot of data supporting actually the front of the eye and the back, choroidal blood flow and so forth.
Yeah, that's right. So AstaReal material specifically has over 60 clinical studies supporting it. And some of the preclinical studies have shown that astaxanthin crosses the blood-retinal barrier and the blood-brain barrier as well. And then we have the clinical studies showing benefits to dynamic focus, eye strain, eye fatigue. And we know that it localizes in the retina as well as in ciliary muscles at the front of the eye. So providing antioxidant function. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. And there's many studies looking, there's even some preclinical studies looking at ciliary body cells and iris cells showing that it downregulates NF-kappa B in that system.
Right. Yeah. So I based on my background, I have a PhD in aquaphysiology. I've been involved in nutrition research for more than 20 years. It's a synergy, right? It's not just the carotenoids and macula. It's the astaxanthin together with all the other anti-inflammatory and antioxidant materials we have, and this is giving it this huge boost. And so we have just a couple minutes here. Let me just a little bit about moving your practice into a superior nutritional product like Lumega-Z. It is a medical food, which means it has to be recommended by a doctor and taken under supervision of a doctor. And we offer a DAC, or doctor authorization code, that you use to give to your patients. So when they order it, we know that those patients are coming from your practice. We fulfill it, we ship it, and then you're paid a fulfillment fee, kind of a difference between the retail and the wholesale price. You don't have to carry it in your practice. We do the shipping for you, and we have an evidence-based protocol involves visual function testing with contrast sensitivity and macular pigment testing. So not only can you show the patients that this is the best formula, but you can demonstrate the benefit by their improvements. We're seeing many patients that show significant improvement in vision, as I mentioned earlier, as well as thickening of the macular pigment. So it really sets your practice apart to show the patient you've given them a superior formula, and now you're able to demonstrate to them directly that you're getting better. And what do? They're really happy, and they tell their friends. Because believe me, everybody that's 65 or 70 years old has a friend that's losing vision from macular degeneration. They're all scared of it. And if you could show them there's a way not to be scared, but to take in your own hands, it can help a lot with your practice development, particularly right now when that particular age group is a little concerned about coming back to practice. So with that, I'd like to open it up for any kind of questions or any comments from, we got a couple minutes left here, from anybody that has any question about Lumega-Z or about how you can get started with Lumega-Z. Just go to the Lumega-Z website, send us an email through the contact form, and one of our team will contact you directly.
Well, there's one question that came in about, studies for cognitive benefit with astaxanthin.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we have seen, because it crosses the blood-brain barrier, we've seen some effects on mental fatigue that astaxanthin is able to fight, and we've also seen improved reaction times for cognitive tests that look at different aspects of memory. So midterm memory, spatial reasoning, choice reaction time, all have been improved with astaxanthin supplementation.
Yeah, actually, we had a few case reports from some of our clinical studies where patients have reported they're also under the care of a neurologist that reported that their cognitive scores have improved dramatically. Even the doctors commented on it, people that were taking Lumega-Z in studies. So, there is some inkling that it's out there. I'd like to get more data on that. There's definitely a tie-in between them because the retina is an extension of the brain, right? I mean, it's the optic nerve in the brain, or many feel it's just essentially one organ, essentially. So if you can help the retina, then obviously you can help the brain.
Exactly. And oxidative stress is something that increases with age, and our brain is full of those very sensitive fats, the polyunsaturated fatty acids that become oxidized. And those need additional dietary antioxidant protection as we age, and our own endogenous antioxidant capacity drops, and blood flow starts to be reduced as well. And we do see there are cases where neuroinflammation tends to increase a little bit. So there are preclinical studies that look at microglia, which are the cells in the brain. And we've seen, again, with this NF-kappa B pathway in vitro, that astaxanthin downregulates that inflammation in microglia. Yeah. So
it's
some ideas.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can do in nutrition, and what we're learning about what you can do in nutrition today. And if you have any questions about how you use contrast sensitivity, we actually did a session on that last week. You can look at the video. We show an example of how people have shifted their vision up over, say, a 3-month time period on Lumega-Z. So if you can go back to the library, look at that. That may be helpful for you as well.
Great.
All right, fantastic. Hope everybody has a nice evening, and appreciate you coming to visit us on Zoom and Facebook.
Thank you very much. Bye.